This Starfire Solar Warlock build used to be one of the best builds in the entire game. That was a couple of seasons ago, and although fusion grenades on its own are still pretty powerful, it doesn't make Starfire completely useless. That being said, today we're making a completely new build setup for Solar Warlocks that want to dominate in endgame PvE this season. Now although today we're not going to be using Starfire Protocol, I will still give you alternative recommendations to make your Solar Warlock build the best it can possibly be, regardless of what route you decide to take. But for this build, we'll be running Phoenix Protocol to ensure that we get supers one after another in the most difficult content in the game. And considering you die pretty easily in endgame content like Grandmaster Nightfalls, always having that well to stand in for a DPS buff and health regen is going to make you pretty much unkillable. But with this build design today, not only are we going to get our supers pretty fast, in most cases one after another, but we're also going to get faster grenades while making them extremely lethal. We're going to throw mini nukes around, scorching enemies constantly, generate heavy ammo regularly, debuff enemies from a distance for an even bigger damage boost, and my favourite of all, chaining between solar abilities and solar weapons for a huge damage buff stacked on top of everything else. This build is by far one of the best solar builds to use in Destiny 2 for the Warlock as a replacement to the nerfed Starfire Protocol build. Now before we start, roughly 30% of you guys watching are not subscribed, so why not consider subscribing? And if you find this video useful, then a rating is also much appreciated. And now let's quickly check out today's sponsor. Today we are sponsored by Omni Heroes. Have you ever wanted to fall in love with some amazing heroes? Do you want to know what it's like to feel like a true god? Well, this game has it all. Omni Heroes is a free fantasy RPG mobile game that's received a lot of recommendations from both the Google Play Store and the Apple Store, and with tons of heroes in the game to develop and master with some stunning visuals and animations, Omni Heroes offers a unique synergy system that takes strategy to the next level, allowing you to mix hundreds of different combinations and buffs to take on some of Omni Heroes' most dangerous enemies. And yes, if you think that's impressive, you really haven't seen anything yet. I mean, just take a look for yourself. Amazing, huh? But that's not all. Right now, Omni Heroes has a new event called Tide's Cadence, where you can explore new depths to embark on a chilling underwater adventure with a newly introduced map that offers tons of challenging difficulty levels, a complete point system to exchange for amazing rewards, as well as some cool looking skins available exclusively in the event shop. You'll also be able to unlock the glorious Valkyrie Marina for free by just logging in each day, be able to get stunning swimsuit skins with unique skill effects, and be able to take on a new boss. You really can't miss out on this event and what this game has to offer. So why not download Omni Heroes today and dive into a world full of challenging adventures? Or are you too scared? All players in the event can claim a free Valkyrie hero and unlock a stunning new skin. And that's actually not all. The 777 Summons event is still available, so you can really make the most out of Omni Heroes today. So be sure to scan my QR code here on screen or visit the link down below to get started, and I'll see you guys in the game. Now getting back into the video, if you do like this one and you want to see more top builds for Destiny 2 every season, then be sure to check out the full playlist down below because you might just find your new dream build. But with this one today, it all begins with our exotic armor, Phoenix Protocol. What this does is return super energy from kills and assists you make while standing inside your World Radiance. This does cap out at a 50% energy return rate, so you cannot get more than 50% super energy from kills inside your well. But having a second Guardian run this exact same build setup, and assuming there are enough adds around to actually kill, you will be able to infinitely place wells down one after another. We will be using a fusion grenade, one of the most powerful grenades in the game, so that we can kill adds to generate more super energy beyond our initial 50%. The way we'll do this is by using 2 Ashes to Asset mods in the helmet, which will allow you to gain bonus super energy on grenade kills. Really good mod. And with other mods combined with a setup, we will be able to recharge that grenade a lot faster than normal, in some cases actually being instant. Now essentially the most basic way to explain how you use this build is you'd start by placing down a well of radiance. You'd then stand in the well and get kills or assists from your allies to generate more super energy up to 50%. Pick up orbs for super energy by allies if you can when available, and use your grenade for even more energy. And that's the very basics of the build. Of course, it is going to be more beneficial in harder content than easier modes, so I do recommend taking this into things like a Grandmaster Nightfall. Now there's actually a lot more to this build than just sitting in a well shooting adds, because taking perks from this season's artifact, we'll be getting a few extra goodies. One of those perks being solar orbs, which we can throw as pretty much a mini nuke in easier content, or scorching fireballs in harder activities. And we're going to spawn these using solar weapons, that be by either your energy or heavy. Now I do recommend the Polaris Lance, great scout rifle, and it just works really nicely with this build. Your other options are things like a Callus mini tool with incandescent on it, the new bow from last week's Nightfall, Sunshot, also a really good choice. There's actually a lot of weapon choices you can use with this build, and there isn't really a wrong answer as to what weapon you should be running. Just any solar weapon will do, but those are just my favourites to use with this build. And the same goes with the heavy. A fixed odds for faster ad clear, or even a lament, a galley if you're the galley guy for team DPS, an apex and so on. There are a ton of choices to pick, so just pick what works for you. Now before I get to the subclass setup, I just want to point out that when it comes to the exotic armor, you aren't restricted to just using Phoenix Protocol. You can use Starfire Protocol if you want to. Although the build isn't optimized for Starfire, it will still work really well to give you fusion grenades even more than usual, and those grenades do pack a good punch, so it is worth using. But it just ain't the best in my opinion right now for the meta this season. Other exotics to use are Eye of Another World. Don't recommend it, but it is an option. Sunbracers, although you'd want to swap the grenade to a solar grenade. Chromatic Fire, Mantle of Battle Harmony, and of course Starfire Protocol. Although for this build, we are going to be sticking with the Phoenix Protocol. As for the subclass aspects, you're going to want to run the Touch of Flame, and the reason for this is so that our fusion grenades can explode twice, so make sure you have a fusion grenade slotted on with that. And as I say, those fusion grenades are really strong. The second aspect you want is up to you. I prefer the Icarus Dash for the air dodge, and then the fragments you want are going to be Ember of Resolve, so solar grenade final blows cure you, giving you that extra bit of health back. An Ember of Char, so solar ignition spreads scorch to affected targets. Ember of Blistering, where defeating targets with solar ignitions grants grenade energy, and Ember of Eruption, so solar ignitions have an increased AoE. Now the other subclass abilities will consist of a World Radiant Super, make sure you have this one on. A Healing Rift, you want this to obviously heal, strongly recommending higher tier content, and then a Celestial Fire melee ability. Now just going back to the artifact real quick, you do want to make sure you're running these 3 perks here. These are the Elemental Fury so that champions take bonus damage from your abilities, Communal Pickups for the protection against allies who pick up your orbs, and Refreshing Pickups for extra energy to your least powered ability. This is most likely going to be your grenade. In the final set, there are actually 3 that you're going to want to run, but obviously you can only run 2. So the first one is Monochromatic Maestro. This is so that you can chain between your solar weapons and your solar abilities for a damage increase. So throw a grenade or use your melee, and then use your solar weapons, and then use your abilities again, and so on. And this just helps to give you that extra damage consistently, which actually does a really good job at melting down champions when combined with the other perks. The second perk you want is one of 2, the first being Elemental Munitions, so you'd slot this one on in easier content where your solar orbs can in most cases guarantee a kill to generate heavy ammo, great for things like dungeons and raids, and then Rapid Fire Ranger. This would be used in things like a Master Activity or a Grandmaster Nightfall, so that you can weaken enemies, and you'd pair this with a long range weapon like a Scout Rifle, something that is consistent at getting precision shots to trigger the debuff. So make sure you have those perks sorted on for this season, because it will do you a lot of favours. Moving on, because we want our grenade back as a priority after our super, you're going to want 100 discipline. So if you're struggling to get spiky discipline high stat armor, go over to your Ghost Shell and slot on the discipline armorer mod. This will guarantee you at least 10 stats of discipline when an armor piece drops for you. And then focusing them from vendors at the helm is usually your best bet if you've got a ton of seasonal engrams to use. As for the mods, this is a very important part of the build to make sure in the helmet that you do have those 2 Ashes to assets on, so that you can get bonus super energy on grenade kills, followed by a solar cipher mod so that you can spawn orbs of power. Those orbs picked up will give you armor charge stacks, and we're going to use those stacks on 2 grenade kickstart mods in the arms to give us grenade energy when we use it. And this is going to be followed by an impact induction to reduce the cooldown further when using your melee attack on an enemy. In the chest, use whatever you want. Legs, a solar scavenger mod for your heavy weapon, and 2 innovations for grenade energy when picking up the orbs of power. Then lastly for the class armor, a distribution and 2 bomber mods. And in most cases, if you use a grenade while at 3 armor charge stacks, then use a melee and rift right afterwards, you'll most likely get or almost get that grenade back instantly. So you can, if there are a lot of ads around, consistently get grenades every 10 to 20 seconds or so if you use the build the right way. Just chain between your abilities and solar weapons, generate the orbs and solar orbs and so on. It's almost like you're benefiting from Starfire Protocol, but you're not, which is why Starfire ain't a terrible choice to use, because you'll just double up on it and treat it like a grenade build instead. It's just not godly like it once was. As for the other stat choices, you want Resilience to 100 so that you can get that damage resist, as well as Recovery for the class ability recharge rate. Having those 3 stats, Resilience, Recovery and Discipline at 100 would be your ideal triple 100 Phoenix Protocol solo build in Destiny 2 Season of the Witch this season. And with these mods in place combined with your seasonal artifact perks and solar subclass aspects and fragments, this build will give you supers and grenades like there's no tomorrow. It's by far one of the best builds to use right now for Season 22, but if this build isn't one for you, then don't go anywhere. there, because there is a full playlist down below that you should check out next that contains a bunch of top tier builds that you can use right now. So go check it out guys, and be sure to check out my sponsor down below too, so that you can support the channel like the god you are. But for now guys, have a good one, and I'll see you over in that next video.